Sooner fans, Longhorn Nation, welcome to episode 221 of the Bevo Podcast, the only podcast exclusively dedicated to covering the greatest rivalry in college football, the University of Texas, and the University of Oklahoma. I'm here with my man, Kevin Miller. I am John Whitson. Kevin, this is a college football podcast, and we're going to talk plenty of college football. We haven't talked since January 8th. We might talk a little national championship. We're definitely going to talk transfer portal. We're going to talk about 2 early preseason thoughts next year, because why not? But shifting to the NFL just for a moment, if you will permit me. Bill Belichick not making the first ballot Hall of Fame means what to you?
You know, it doesn't make sense. How?
Kevin, I'm glad you said that. I've heard the deflate gate, and I've often talked about his record with Brady and without Brady and all of the stuff, right? All of the stuff that surrounds Belichick. And we've made a lot of fun of him at North Carolina and with the girlfriend and what it's doing to his legacy and all of this and all that. Dude, he won 6 Super Bowls.
Right. That's it right there. End of story. Put him in the Hall of Fame.
And listen,
2 more as a defensive coordinator.
The first 2 Super Bowls he won with the Patriots, Tom Brady was not Tom Brady.
No.
We've talked about that at length.
Correct.
At length.
Those were his Super Bowls. He won those Super Bowls.
100%. And then not only are we talking about him in terms of a coach, as a head coach, it's one, but he also did it in a general manager role.
Correct. Yes.
Right? And so now there's a lot of coaches that have tried to do both, some with success, some with no success at all.
He was successful for a while. It fell off at the end. But, yes, he was making the personnel decisions during, like you said, their first 3 Super Bowls. With immense success.
There must be some severe angst and, dare I say, hatred toward this man that you don't vote him of all people.
I mean, these media guys, they don't like the fact probably that, he was didn't give him a lot of info, right? He's mumbling, hardly giving them anything at press conferences. And I think they legitimately use those kind of things to decide if they're going to vote for you or not.
Well, that's insane.
They just didn't like him. Yeah.
Look, the better article by one of these guys, if that's the case, although Bill Polian has come out as probably one of these guys too, who's an NFL guy. So just keep that in mind. But if you're one of these guys, the better article to write is, I can't stand Bill Belichick, but I could not vote for him. Like, that's Correct. The answer.
Yeah.
And I'm just fascinated by it. And I mean, are they going to apply that same criteria to Brady? The deflate gate? And because on top of that, he also won 7 Super Bowls, one at Tampa Bay of all places. And I mean, because he played in the AFC East, he gets, I just.
Yeah, I there's no criteria that I could think of that ends with Bill Belichick not being a first ballot Hall of Famer. Let's go way back. I mean, dude was the architect of the defenses that won the Super Bowls with the New York Giants with Lawrence Taylor. He was the one who deployed Lawrence Taylor in a 3-4 stand-up edge role that forced the Washington Redskins to create the H-back position to be able to contain him. He architected that defense, right? Becomes a head coach, does pretty good in Cleveland, ends up with the Patriots job, and the rest is history. So to think of all that he's done for the game and for him to not be elected into the Hall of Fame his first opportunity was very shocking.
Yes. I just don't get it, and I don't understand people that can make the argument against it. It makes no sense to me.
None whatsoever.
Okay. Well, hey, we actually agree. There you go. This Oklahoma fan and Texas fan agree Bill Belichick should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know how 50 other people couldn't agree on that as well. Let's shift over to the University of Oklahoma. As of today, well, I guess not technically until February 15th, but we've been introduced to the new athletic director at the University of Oklahoma, Roger Denny. He has a background in law. He's an attorney, finance law, corporate law, university athlete law. And for the last 4.5 years, he's been an associate athletic director at Illinois, where it sounds like he was in charge of just about everything. Look, I don't know what it takes to be an athletic director these days. Long gone are the days where Barry Odom could be the athletic director at Wisconsin after being the coach, and Philip Fulmer.
Oh, Barry Alvarez, yeah.
Those things they haven't existed for 20 years. Barry Alvarez, I'm sorry. Barry Alvarez, Phil Fulmer. Those haven't existed for 25, 30 years. Okay, so now he's replacing a legendary athletic director in Joe Castiglione, who's responsible for over half of the total national championships the school's won in all sports. Only one football, which will probably blemish his record. Only one football national championship, but just 25 or 26 total national championships. What he's done with women's sports, what he's done with non-revenue sports like golf and things like that. It's just been
softball.
He's been fantastic. Of course, softball, women's gymnastics, the whole deal.
I don't know if he hired Gasso, but still overseeing the program, he still gets credit.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, absolutely.
But he hired Stoops.
He hired Stoops. I think the low spot he's going out on is men's basketball, which we'll talk about that. But we talked about Joe Castiglione when he announced his retirement. Okay, and this was 6-8 months ago, whatever it was. And we talked about the fact that NIL and transfer portal has foundationally changed college sports. And a guy like Joe C. either didn't want to adopt to it, or I don't think it wasn't because he wasn't smart enough to do it. I think that there's a part of it. It's like, this isn't what I signed up for.
Right. Yeah. We've seen that with a lot of coaches too. If things have been a certain way for 40 years, let's say, and then all of a sudden it just switches, there are people who just, this is not what I want to do. If it's going to be this way, I don't want to do it this way. I want to do it the old way. The old way worked for me. This way doesn't. I'm out.
Now, do I think Joe did it to that extreme? I don't know, but I do think it might be safe to say his heart wasn't in it.
Yeah, and this is after being there for what, almost 30 years. Almost
30 years. So this isn't a dig at him. But I say all that to say, Roger Denny has only been in official college athletic administration for 4.5 years. He knows nothing else. NIL, transfer portal, revenue sharing, roster building, and on down the line. That's all he knows. It's almost like a blank slate of experience is being brought to OU. Right? Where we've got Jim Nagy running, all sorts of business operations on the side of football, and Brent Venables coaching them up and doing what he's really, really good at. Now we've got somebody that can look at the landscape and say, okay, I don't have to relearn anything. I get to start right here, right now, fresh, bringing in that perspective. Again, I don't know what makes a good athletic director. I don't know if he's going to be good or not, but I think the place he's coming from has the potential to be very positive for the University of Oklahoma.
Well, I mean, you said there's a lot of hats to wear. nowadays. You're managing that. There's a lot of finances. I mean, there's always been a lot of finances, but now the players are involved in those finances. So it's a whole new thing. So hopefully for Oklahoma, he knows what he's doing when it comes to that, right? Also, is he going to be responsible for hiring coaches, or is that going to be more of a Randall Stevenson thing? Because I heard he's still going to be around, right? Or is that going to be a Jim Nagy thing when it comes to, I mean, hiring coaches within the football, from
Right.
the football side of it, So yeah, it sounds like surely there's a plan in place. I know Randall Stevenson's still going to be around, so um, sounds like he'll be
Well,
handling more of the business side of it. I don't know how involved he's going to be with hiring the coaches. Have you heard anything about that?
it's a great question. I'm going to say all coaches outside of football are probably going to fall under the purview of Roger Denny. Football coaches, maybe even basketball coaches, I think it's going to be a group effort. Probably with him getting the blame if it goes poorly.
Yeah,
But I think it'll be
sense.
a group effort. I think Randall's to say that Randall Stevenson and the president of the university and the board of regents don't have a say in who the head football coach is crazy. It's that Roger Denny doesn't just get to pull the trigger in an isolated vacuum on whoever that is at any point. But with the others, I don't think a lot changes with the other programs. Golf, maybe not. Maybe softball. Patty's created such a behemoth. She only gets fired or hired when somebody says something. But that kind of thing. I still think that chain of command is very clear. But with football, I still don't believe it's Jim Nagy. I think that Jim Nagy and Brent Venables are, if you look at an organizational chart, are on the same level.
Okay.
I think they are colleagues. Okay.
Yeah.
Reporting to, and I agree with you. I think it's a little hazy whether it's Roger Denny or Randall Stevenson, or maybe it's direct to Denny and dotted line to Stevenson. But I don't think Nagy is in charge of coaching personnel. I think he can have a lot of influence. I think he can speak to what works and what doesn't work and be a part of an interview process and scouting process and all the things. I still think that falls in line with the head coach, and Nagy falls in line with personnel, transfer portal, recruiting, NIL, roster management, all of the stuff. That's how I see it. Yeah. You seem to be convinced that somehow Nagy has become Brent Venables' boss. What makes you think that?
No, just, I just wonder who has the final say if there's a disagreement on something.
Okay, give me an example.
Hey, I think our quarterback in this class should be prospect A. The other one, no. I want prospect B. You have a chance to get one of either one.
I think there's a very good chance that Nagy has final decision making in that.
Okay, personnel stuff.
I really do. I think now. I think it's easy to say that, like as an example, but that's not how the real world works, right? It's like when you and I talk about how we're going to do the podcast.
Right.
I'm going to come up with an idea, and you're going to go, "Well, I don't really like that," and then I'm going to go, "Well, let me try to win you to my side."
Yeah, do some of that. Well, let's do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Yeah,
it's collaborative, right? And so I think
that is a realistic scenario, though.
I'll tell you what. I think if push comes to shove, there's an issue in the program. How about that?
Say that again.
I think if push comes to shove, there's an issue in the program.
Yeah.
I really do.
Because that is a realistic scenario when it comes to recruiting players. I've heard stories of this, and obviously, historically, things have changed over the last few years. But historically, the head coach has the final say on that, right? If it's the offensive coordinator and the head coach, right? Like you've heard about this, like, hey, we've got this prospect who plays wide receiver and plays corner. The head coach is the one who's going to decide on where the kid's going to play. This situation is a little bit different. It's just a new era. So it's a question that I have not based on, you know, anything bad that has happened. I'm just curious what would happen if that were to come up.
Well, I mean, I do think it's a fair question. I think there's an element of once they're in the building, they're Brent Venables' problem.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really gonna be interesting to see. Another thing that's interesting is when you look at Texas, for example. This is an OU Texas podcast. We're going to get to Texas, especially when it comes to the portal talk. Sarkisian. I don't think Sarkisian would allow a Nagy-like figure.
Neither do I.
I think we can both agree. Now, we're going to look at this portal and maybe disagree, but I think we both agree that it's similar to the play calling, right? It's similar to the offensive coordinator. It's similar to having a quarterback coach. It might not be in the best interest to have one guy in charge of everything.
You've heard me say that. I've been saying that for a long time. He wears too many hats.
You know what I mean? And so while you're bringing up, I think, legitimate, valid points of, conflict potentially, I also think you're seeing the fruits of what has turned out to be, Oklahoma making a playoff in Nagy's first year. Brent Venables, I think more than Nagy and his influence on the roster, which I still think is maybe to be determined, is allowing Brent Venables to coach football.
Just coach the team, be the football team.
That's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
He wants to be the defensive coordinator, and he wants to coach football. And it is amazing, Kevin, how many less dumb decisions he made this year than he made in years past.
That is true. That is absolutely true.
And so now, will there be disagreements on probably? There probably is every day, and we don't know it, right? But at the end of the day, he probably is a mature enough individual, Brent Venables, to sit back. I get to coach football, and I don't have to worry about this NIL stuff. I mean, I got to worry about it, but I don't really have to worry about it.
You have other people that handle that part of it.
All right. Well, it'll be interesting to track Roger. He's got big shoes to fill, so we'll see how he does. Transfer portal, Kevin Miller. Transfer portal. Let's start with the Texas Longhorns. On paper, I think you killed it.
Yeah, pretty good. It's a pretty good transfer portal window for Texas. Obviously, you lose a lot of guys, and you lose some guys that you didn't want to lose. But, we brought in some guys. I'm not 100% convinced, though. I still have questions, and we'll get to that. But I am happy overall. I mean, obviously, Cam Coleman is, arguably the top player that was in the transfer portal. We get him. We expect him to come in and make a huge impact immediately. Also getting the Biles kid out of Pitt, Rasheem Biles, the linebacker. Again, instant starter coming in.
Well, you lost a starter, so you needed him, right?
Correct. Yeah, exactly. We lose Anthony Hill to the NFL, losing Leongo Lafau, who ended up at Colorado, coincidentally. Everybody had him pretty much penciled in to go to BYU. He ended up going to Colorado, which surprised me. But, getting Rasheem Biles, this dude is a big-time playmaker, so we're really excited about him. We had a needed running back, filled that, getting Raleek Brown, and then the surprise commitment of Hollywood Smothers, who had already committed to Alabama. So getting him, we feel really good about that. We did pick up a couple of offensive linemen, Jonte Newman from A&M. He was a true freshman last year. He's a project. You don't expect him to make any sort of impact this year. But picking up Melvin Siani, he was Wake Forest starting left tackle last year, did not allow a sack at all last year. So we expect him to come in and start at right tackle for us right away this year, pushing in Brandon Baker, who actually had a pretty good year last year at tackle, but pushing him inside to guard. I do think we needed or still need a couple more offensive linemen. So we'll see what happens there. That's the only position that I don't feel really good about. I'm still a little
Yeah.
bit shaky about that. You know, getting Siani helped a lot. We also picked up a kid from Western Kentucky yesterday who also is pretty talented, but I still don't feel great about that. But everywhere else, I feel pretty good about that. I feel pretty good about what we did.
Well, I think about you offensively. I mean, you had Cam Coleman, you had Hollywood Smothers, you had the running back out of ASU.
Yeah, Raleek Brown.
Did you add any tight ends? Because your tight end
We
pickup
did.
last year was a little less than expected, right?
Yeah, yeah, he just didn't. And I don't even know if it's his fault necessarily. Maybe Arch doesn't like the tight end as much as Quinn did. Quinn loved throwing to the tight ends. So, but yeah, so we lose him. We lose Jordan Washington to the portal. He ends up at North Carolina. But we did bring in I can't think of the kid's name. He's out of Michigan State. Um, Big tight end, more of a blocker. He's a combo guy, right? So he's not just a straight up wide receiver type tight end like Injuries was. More of a combo guy, but we expect him to start for us this year. So we'll see how that goes.
Look, man, I think it's
Michael
I
Masunis,
don't
by
want
the way.
okay. I don't want to like be too gushy about this, but I do think your offense has a chance to be really, really good.
So do
Um,
I. So do I. We've got all the components to be pretty explosive in the passing game, down the field, the short to intermediate passing game, and the running game.
I do though share some of the same concerns that you have defensively. You lost some studs defensively to the both to the draft and a little bit in the portal, but mostly to the draft. So rebuilding that is going to be uh, interesting for Muschamp, right? Like, can he put all these pieces together? Um, in addition to, I'm assuming a new system out of Muschamp versus
Yeah, it'll be a different
PK.
system for
What will
sure.
he
For
run?
sure. Well, okay, so with PK, it was more of a kind of softer zone coverage, whereas Will Muschamp is more an aggressive man coverage.
Okay.
So it's completely different from a coverage standpoint what we were running. Yeah. So
Do
I'm
you like
curious to
one?
see.
Do you like one better than the other, or is it kind of wait and see?
I mean, if if Muschamp's defense looks like it did when he was here the first time, I would absolutely love it. But we'll see. It's a big risk to me by Sark because PK's unit was always steady. Look, this year there are some things that I didn't like. We had some busting in the secondary that we hadn't had since his first year, right? There was some game plan stuff. I do wonder how much of that was Dwayne Aquino, who they brought in to coach the safeties, because we had some game plans. The Florida game plan alone was
Yeah, it was
just, I mean,
stupid.
we were spying DJ
That was a
Lackway. First of all, DJ Lackway doesn't hardly run, period. And he was coming off a really bad ankle injury. We didn't even know if he was going to play, and we're spying him. So I guess that's neither here nor there. But it's a huge risk because, if it pays off, great. If we become more aggressive to where we can force even more turnovers than we have been the past few years, great. But we'll see. It's a new scheme. What I feel really good about is having Colin Simmons back,
sure.
right? That makes everything
Yeah.
easier. When you have a guy is going to get pressure on the quarterback no matter what. Kid has 21 sacks in 2 years, more to come this year. I like a lot of our pieces. We have a few holes to fill. We have a corner that we brought in, Bo Maxwell out of Rutgers, who we fully expect to be our starting corner next year. So I feel good about the pieces on defense. I just want to see how the scheme fits and how quickly the players can acclimate to it, and how we do in this new man-to-man coverage scheme.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. I do think if Arch has the back half of a season with these weapons, I mean, it's concerning, I think, for the rest of the league. But defensively, I think there's going to be some opportunities there to take advantage of it if a team has the skill set to be able to do it. Chiefly among those would be the University of Oklahoma. Look, our biggest concerns offensively, I believe, were addressed. We've upgraded wide receivers, which we've already talked about. Parker Livingston, formerly of Texas. Trell Harris out of
Virginia.
Oh, my mind just went blank. Yeah, Virginia. So I feel good about that. Then since our last episode, we've added 3 tight ends. Okay. Jack Van Dorsler out of Tennessee, Rocky Beers, and Hayden Hansen out of Florida. In addition, we've hired a pretty decent name anyway for a tight end coach, Jason Witten. Thoughts on Jason Witten as the tight end coach at Oklahoma?
Well, I mean, obviously he played the game at an extremely high level for a long time. Right? He's a borderline Hall of Fame level player. So I'm sure he's going to bring a wealth of knowledge and experience.
Not if the people that are not voting Belichick in, is he going to get?
And again, I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer, but he had a career to where he will at least be under consideration for the Hall of Fame, right? And of course, I mean, you have the inside track now on getting his son, 5-star linebacker Cooper Witten. So, and honestly, can it get worse than what you had the last few years? Honestly, I mean, you guys got no production from the tight end position other than Jaron Kanek, who, I mean,
was a converted linebacker.
And, how much of that was him working off his athleticism that he had. It was just a really weird room for you guys, and it has been for years, right? I mean, what's the last tight end you had that you guys really liked? I know you liked Kanek last year, but someone who was actually a tight end, recruited to play the position.
Calcaterra or Stogner, but even really Stogner didn't do what we wanted. You know what I mean? He never lived up to the hype.
Yeah, correct.
He got hurt, right? Do you remember he got hurt?
Yeah, he had a bunch of injuries,
blood infection or something. And
and Calcaterra, remember, he actually retired due to he had a lot of concussions. Ended up coming back and is now in the NFL after he transferred. But yeah, so I don't know how it can get much worse, honestly. I'm curious to see how Arbuckle I just want to see how Arbuckle puts him into the scheme. How he fits the tight end position into his scheme.
Well, they need it. But I'm okay. I think we've got these 3 dudes are all quality guys with production. 2 of which were at SEC schools. Like Van Dorsler and Hansen are at Tennessee and Florida. These are not chumps that we're bringing in at the tight end position. So I'm pretty excited about that. And so when I take a step back and say, kind of like what we did for your offense, you added some serious firepower. I think we've added some key pieces, maintained the depth across the offensive line, added in these tight ends, added in some receivers. I don't think we have the star power. I know we don't have the star power, not as Cam Coleman anyway. But I feel really good about the depth we've created, specifically at the tight end and the wide receiver position.
How do you feel about the running back position? Just in general going into next year.
I mean, oh my gosh. Who did we sign? Remind me who we signed.
I'm going to pull up the list here.
Pull up the list. I mean, I think the reality is we're still counting on Torrey Blaylock and Xavier Robinson to be.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, not just with the portal. I'm talking about,
Yeah. I think it feels a little bit like Texas's class last year. Okay?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like Wisner and Baxter, but not really feeling like they were home run hitters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Like, you got some guys who you like, but you don't love them. No real
I
game
don't.
breaker.
I don't expect them to be bad, but I also don't expect them to set the world on fire running the ball.
Yeah.
And I love what we saw out of Torrey last year as a true freshman. The guy ran incredibly hard, but I mean, runs over 20 yards, less than 5, right, out of the running back position. And that might be even overestimating it. So it's going to be interesting. You know, we feel like we've addressed the tight end coaching deficit. Now we got to look at the running backs and go, okay, is DeMarco Murray giving us what we need at running back? Can he develop? This will now be year 3 for Xavier Robinson, year 2 for Torrey Blaylock. Will we see a jump from year 2 and 3, year 1 and 2? Because guess what? We never saw it with Taylor Tatum. We never saw it with the guy that just transferred.
Javonte Barnes.
Javonte Barnes. I am so sorry. Javonte Barnes. He's transferred. He's already off the list. You know, we just never saw it with those guys. So
now, when you say Taylor Tatum, are you talking about the Michigan safety Taylor Tatum?
I'm talking about the Michigan safety Taylor, the former 5-star running back that we were all excited to steal from SC. Do you get the vibe that the fact that he's moving to safety means he just wants to play baseball?
I don't know. I mean, why not just play baseball at OU then?
Well, I don't know, man. I can't think of a scenario. I can't think of a running back turned defensive player. I just can't think of a good example, let alone running back to a secondary position.
Well, I guess, I'm just curious, and I don't remember this. Him, I know he went to Longview High School, but, did he play some safety in high school? Like, is there tape of him playing
Probably,
safety?
right?
I'm just curious as to what Michigan said, looked at his film, and said, hey, we're going to move this guy to safety.
Well, I think part of it was they realized he couldn't hold on to the ball. So that took him off the running back rotation. And I'm fine with that. If that's the reason why they didn't put him back in there because he couldn't hold on to the ball, fine. Fumbling was not Oklahoma's biggest problem last year. It just wasn't. So,
if
that was the coaching decision.
See him at all last year. Play for OU.
Yeah. Well, other guys we didn't see at all. Kevin. Jaden Ott in the Senior Bowl. If you see it, or the East-West Shrine game or something, running up and down the field with the ball right now. Is that crazy?
Is he really?
I'm almost positive he's at the East. I'm gonna look it up right now because
it is so interesting, man, and we'll never really know what happened there.
Yeah, he's an eligible prospect.
One of the most bizarre things we've seen is him coming in.
Oh, it will.
One of the top players in the transfer portal last year and just having zero impact at all.
What happens if he makes an NFL roster and it's somewhat productive? What is that? Is that the indictment we need at the running backs coach position?
Yeah, I mean, there's just got to be more to it that we don't know. We may never know.
Look at Hollywood Smothers, Kevin. That guy was a Sooner. He was on our roster.
Yeah. Who was he behind, though?
I don't care. He was literally recruited by Texas and Alabama in the transfer portal. Y'all had a battle over Hollywood Smothers. He was on campus for us. You're telling me a guy that's being recruited by Alabama and Texas out of the transfer portal wouldn't have been valuable for Oklahoma in the backfield the last 2 years?
I think he would have been. I think he would have been.
Look, I'm sure he couldn't block back then. That's always the big thing. Well, he doesn't pick up the pass block very well.
Okay.
Okay, well, good. He could be your first and second.
Okay, so he was on your 2023, the 2023 roster. Okay.
And how many carries did he get?
Here's who you had. Let me just tell you who you had on the roster at running back. Caleb Hicks, Javonte Barnes, Emeka Megwa, Marcus Major, Gavin Sawchuk, and Tawi Walker. that was your running back room that year. So I'm assuming that
And
Tyree Walker and
we rolled the
Sawchuk,
top.
they made. Yeah, Tyree Walker
Yeah.
was the guy, and then you had kind of Major and Sawchuk getting the other.
Look, when Tyree Walker left Oklahoma, he did not get recruited by Alabama and Texas.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. That Tyree Walker was great. I like Tyree Walker. And Gavin Sawchuk had a very good year. 23, if I'm remembering right. The back half of 23 was a very good year for him.
Yeah.
It doesn't excuse the fact that it sounds like we had a 5-star waiting to be played. And I guess I just don't understand it. If he comes to Texas and has 1,000 yards rushing, I mean, I'm going to want to puke, right? I'm literally going to want to throw. I'm literally going to want to throw up.
Yeah. 11 carries for 42 yards, playing in 4 games. So just mop up type dude.
I bet that yards per carry was better than anything Javonte Barnes had that year.
Well, it was Javonte Barnes level 3.8.
Yeah, that's right.
So it was Barnes level, but again, he's coming in mop up duty. That's it. He only played in 4 games as a true freshman.
Portal rankings. Oklahoma ends this. There's still things that could be added, but and this is 24/7, has Oklahoma at 20th. The top 10 are LSU, Ole Miss, Texas at 3, Miami, Ohio State, Penn State, Oklahoma State, Indiana, Texas Tech, and Kentucky at 10. Now, I think a lot of these get skewed by the fact that you have rebuilds, so you have a lot of roster turnover. So you're adding a lot. I think LSU had something like 40 commits out of there, which propels them up. But Miami and Ohio State weren't rebuilding. Texas reloading in a sense. Penn State definitely rebuilding. Oklahoma State rebuilding. Indiana reloading. Texas Tech doing what Texas Tech does. And then Kentucky having to rebuild with a new coach. You got to feel pretty good about being ranked 3rd. What do you think this does in kind of a way too early performance, prediction? What do you think this does for Texas in 2026?
Oh, I mean, I'm looking for a huge immediate impact from several of these guys. Cam Coleman goes without saying. We only got him for 1 year, right? It's going to be his junior year. He is not, a 4-year college football player. He will play 1 more year and then go to the NFL. So we're banking on him having a big time season. And really the same thing with the running backs. We're expecting a big impact from both Smothers and Rayleigh Brown. So I feel like at the very least, we got to get back into the playoff. Because, we talked about this before the year, right? Texas being ranked number 1, preseason rankings, who cares? I don't care. I didn't care then. I don't care now. I don't care where we're ranked to start the year. But I expect us to make it to the playoff and to win at least a game. I expect us to be in the semifinals, honestly, based on what I know now.
Here's what I've got for Texas notable games, at least on paper. What it looks like now. I've got Ohio State, at Tennessee, Oklahoma and Dallas, Florida, Ole Miss, at Mizzou, at LSU, at A&M.
It is a tough schedule. Tough schedule.
Of course, I am picking you to lose to Oklahoma. So that's loss 1 for me. You're probably picking a win. I'm picking a loss.
I'm picking a win.
I think eventually OU's due at some point to maybe, score a touchdown. We'll see. I don't want to get too cocky. I don't know if Parker Livingston's that touchdown we've been missing. But anyway.
I hope not.
But
my God.
Yeah. So there's one loss, at least in my books. Now, I think you lose either Ole Miss, LSU, or A&M. I think you lose 1 out of those 3. Okay, that's just a hard stretch of football, and those all come at the end, including a road trip to Missouri. You don't know where Missouri is going to be. They kind of fell off this year. Maybe they Drinkwitz builds them back up, whatever. But I think you lose one in that stretch. I think it's too hard of a stretch to assume you're just going to blow through it. So that has me at 2 losses. The question then comes to the beginning of the season on September 12th, hosting Ohio State. Have you done enough roster compilation-wise to go ahead and beat Ohio State and Austin on September 12th?
I think so, but
as you discuss this on January 28th, 2020.
Yeah, of course. It's never too early to start talking about next year. This is what we do. I think so. I mean, I think we've had enough to beat them the last 2 times we played them, right? We've had, when we played them in the semifinals, we were at the 1 yard line, a yard away from tying the game. We screwed up. They returned it for a touchdown. Lost them by a score in Columbus this year. So, I mean, it's going to be a dogfight. They lose guys, but they brought guys in from the portal. They have talented freshmen who are coming up. They have a new offensive coordinator again. They seem to have a new one every year. Did you hear who they hired?
No, who'd they get?
Arthur Smith. Guy who was just the Steelers offensive coordinator. Yeah, that guy.
I don't think that's a very good hire.
People said that about Matt Patricia too, and they were great defensively this year. He uses a lot of tight end stuff.
But Matt Patricia has had success as a defensive coordinator. He wasn't a very good head coach, but had success as a defensive coordinator in the league. I mean, with a coach that's not even going to make the Hall of Fame. He was a very successful.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, the 6 Super Bowl winning coach that's not a Hall of Famer.
So I think that there was a track record there. I think it was weird, and the pencil's still weird and all that. But you're right. I agree. He did good. Arthur Smith, though, never really had. I mean, it's not like he developed any quarterbacks or anything to that effect.
Yeah, no, not at all. He's a running game guy and throw into the tight end top guys.
Well, maybe that's what they want out of. Is that what they want out of Julian Sand?
I don't know. Of course, Ryan Day will be involved heavily with the game plan designing and things like that. But it's just going to be interesting.
Look,
obviously they'll still have Jeremiah Smith.
Was Julian Sand a redshirt freshman or redshirt sophomore?
I believe he was a redshirt freshman.
Okay, I think he played similar to how Arch played in. No, not similar to how Arch played. I think he was really good against teams that weren't any good. There's a lot on Ohio State's schedule. Some of the bad, they can go 5 games without playing a ranked team. Ohio State can. But when they played really good teams, he was just average. He was average against y'all in the 1-score win. He was average against Indiana in the Big Ten championship game, and he was average against Miami in the playoff. Right? I didn't.
For sure, no.
I didn't walk away going, Julian Sand isn't the. I'm not saying he's the reason they lost, but he's. I mean, that pick 6 was pretty bad. That pick 6 against Miami was pretty bad, right?
It was.
So I kind of think you could beat Ohio State. I think you should be favored to beat Ohio State. If I had to pick the quarterback matchup in totality after looking back at all of 2025, I like the quarterback. You talk about receivers. Yeah, they have Jeremiah Smith, but you just added Cam Coleman. I think it might come down defensively, and that's where we've already discussed. Does Muschamp get this defense fully invested by the time you play Ohio State? I think that's a real question mark. Yeah. But I don't know. I
love our pieces on defense. I like what we have defensively on all 3 levels.
Do you see much difference, though, just based on the schedule between last year? Meaning you could go 10-2 next year.
Yes. Correct. We can go 10-2, but I mean, there are some tough games there. I mean, you could lose 4 of these games. It's, and again, we're basing this in January, right? Because we looked at OU schedule and thought that, it was impossible. And it turns out it really wasn't. Obviously, you have to win some games against some good teams. but it wasn't impossible.
No,
Like we
it
thought
wasn't
it might have been.
impossible. And there's still some games that you feel like you left some on the bone. With
Correct.
Old Miss at home.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
Alabama in the playoff game. You still feel like you left some on the bone or made some really bad mistakes or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's talk Oklahoma. So same exercise. Notable games. I think Oklahoma has one less notable game. So I'm just going to list the ones that are notable. Same date, September 12th. We're probably going to have the big noon kickoff because we'll be at Michigan.
For sure.
At Georgia. Texas. At Florida. Host Ole Miss. Host A&M. At Missouri. Okay. Now, am I writing off Mississippi State and Kentucky? I guess not, but we're just going to leave those over onto the side, right? Whatever. When I look at this, Kevin, I think we're still better than Michigan.
I'm curious to see how Michigan looked with Kyle Whittingham, but no, I right now I can't pick Michigan over you guys.
I still think we're better than Michigan. Now, this is going to Michigan, and the quarterback's been there an extra year, and Kyle Whittingham's a good coach, but we're going to see. I've got loss at Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah. Of course, I've got a win at Texas. And then I think we lose either at Florida or at home to Ole Miss. To me, that's where the loss comes in. And then when I look at the rest of it, we'll see what A&M's like. They got Marcel Reed. But listen, dude, we talked about A&M last year. When it came to teams that were any good or with winning records, A&M didn't have one win against a team with a winning record last year.
Correct. Yeah.
Or at least a winning record in conference. Maybe they had winning records, but not in conference.
Not in conference, yeah.
And so, when they played, I take that back. They beat Notre Dame. You're right. Don't come at me, A&M fan. You did. You beat Notre Dame.
No winning conference teams.
But no win against, no winning conference teams. And you get beat down pretty good to Texas, and you got beat 10-3 at home in a playoff game, which pretty bad, honestly.
Correct. Yeah, you couldn't do anything offensively.
I know Miami made it to the national championship, but still,
you got to score a touchdown.
Yeah, that's bad. So I just am not so scared about A&M, and I think we've realized that we're better than Missouri. I think Oklahoma had kind of dipped below Missouri there for a couple seasons. I think the talent train is back, kind of heading in the right direction to where unless something stupid happens, we're a better team than Missouri is.
I agree.
That's my assessment, though.
I'm really curious here, just kind of looking at this, what Michigan's going to look like under Kyle Whittingham, right? Are they going to open up that offense with Bryce Underwood, right? Utah, what they do offensively is a little bit more, although less conservative than what Michigan does historically. And hopefully they open it up. They opened it up a bit against Texas more in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, and it looked good.
Yes.
So again, at Georgia, that's obviously going to be a tough game. You might get game day in that game.
If we're undefeated, we probably have game day, right? If we beat Michigan, I would think so.
And obviously, Red River speaks for itself. Mississippi State, PK's defense, we always struggle with Mississippi State. South Carolina, I mean, what a nightmare of a season they had this year. I'm just curious to see how they bounce back. But Florida, with John Summerall coming in, who's a coach that I like, they got their guys to stay.
Everybody except the quarterback, and then he got the quarterback he wanted, right?
Correct, yeah. I mean, Jaden Baugh, we all know how much Texas wanted Jaden Baugh. He never entered the portal. The other running back, Jacoby Jackson, who Texas would have taken him as well, he didn't enter the portal. They're two stud freshman receivers. Dallas Wilson, he stayed put. Same thing with Vernell Brown. So there must be something about him that these players, and obviously I'm sure they got some NIL increases, but still, right? Just there's uncertainty there. They stayed put. So I'm curious to see with the talent that they have, can this potentially be a kind of Ron Zook to Urban Meyer type situation? Remember that? They had
Yep.
Ron
Oh,
Zook
yep.
there early 2000s. He was an incredible recruiter, but not a great coach. They fire him. They bring in Urban Meyer. The talent's already there. 2 years later, they're winning a national championship. I'm not saying he's going to win a national championship in 2 years, but can they have that kind of lift, elevation with Summerall, with the talent that they have there? So I'm curious to see that. Ole Miss, what are they going to look like with a full year of Pete Golding as their head coach? Obviously, he did a great job coaching them up in the playoff. But what's it going to be like with him being the guy
Do
when
we know
all
who
that
his
excitement
Do we know who
goes
his
down?
Do we know who his offensive
I
coordinator
don't
is?
know who his OC is because we all know Charlie Weiss Jr. is headed to LSU with Lane.
I mean, my outlook for Oklahoma way too early is I think you got a good quarterback coming back who God willing doesn't have a thumb injury. Now, is that all of his faults? No, but it didn't help. I think you've got a year older offensive line that feels really, really good, right? With really good pieces, young, athletic, high
You got the
talent.
left tackle, that's for sure.
We've added tight end. We've added I believe we've improved on wide receiver. Deion Burks had some moments, but never just took a game over or anything like that. I think Terrell Harris is a better version of him. I think Parker Livingston is better than anything we had last year. Hopefully on par with Isaiah Satania, who was great last year for us. If those three, if that's our three, I feel really good about that. Defensively,
It's a massive upgrade.
Yeah. Defensively, I'm not upset. I mean, we do lose Omasigo and McKenzie, and we're still waiting to hear on Owen Heineke, but we bring in the kid from Michigan. We get Lewis back. We get R. Mason Thomas back. No, R. Mason Thomas graduated, right?
Yeah, he was a senior.
We get Taylor Wine back. I'm sorry. We get Taylor Wine back. PJ Adebari stays, although he had a flirtation with the portal. Our secondary looks really, really good again. Still have Cortland Guillory. Still have both Bowens. So, defensive
you forgot
line.
too, you have David Stone back.
Jaden Jackson back.
Yeah.
Now you do lose Grayson Halton. Marcus
Dominic
Strong
Williams
left in the portal. Dominic Williams. So I think there's continuing
to
be
have
pieces.
That you have those top two guys to start with. You can fill in depth behind them, but having Jaden Jackson and David Stone back at defensive tackle is huge.
So for me, I think we're a 10-2, 9-3 team, depending on Texas. We beat Texas, we're 10-2. Because I see a loss at Georgia, and I see a loss either at Florida or Ole Miss.
Yeah, Florida's a tough place to play. We certainly learned that last year.
Do you think I'm being too homerish? Because I don't.
No, I don't. I don't. Based on what we know now, I don't. You're usually, I'm always over you for being too homerish on your season picks. You're usually way over the top. But I know I'm not saying any of that right now.
Don't you think it's safe to say Oklahoma is a better football team than they were last year?
On paper, yeah, I would say that.
And we were 10-2 with I think a harder schedule. Schedule.
Yes. So, and it's so funny, right? To show what we know is somehow we're gonna, once the season starts, teams that we think are going to be good or not, and there's going to be some team on this list that's just going to come out of nowhere and be really good, be better than. Here's the Texas one more time. I mean,
yeah,
Ohio State at Tennessee, tough.
It's probably not Mississippi State.
Probably not. You never know. You never know. And yeah, I mean, this stretch here though, Tennessee, Oklahoma, we get the bye week, but Oklahoma, Florida, Ole Miss, and then Missouri here at LSU. You got Arkansas at A&M. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be
Listen,
a tough one. SEC football. That's what we signed up for, though.
Well,
Big
and
boy
we've been
football.
asking for it for 2 years now to have a 9-game schedule.
Yeah.
We don't have to. Oklahoma doesn't have to play Maine. You don't have to play Sam Houston State.
It's Sam Houston State, yeah.
Or whoever, right? Now we still get a couple layups, but we don't get 4 of them anymore. We have 2 layups.
Playing respectable programs too.
Look, I don't think there's a tougher schedule than Oklahoma and Texas schedule when you add the fact that we have to play Michigan and Ohio State, along with a 9-game SEC schedule.
That's the difference there. It's that out-of-conference game. You guys playing at Michigan, us playing Ohio State. Yeah, that's tough.
Kevin, let's talk a little men's basketball. It's been a rough year, both schools. You at least have 3 conference wins, and you have recent wins over Alabama, Vanderbilt, and Georgia. So it's like Sean Miller has a little something going, maybe.
Yeah, in the latest bracketology, they got Texas under the last 4 in category right now because they 4 quad 1 wins so far. So we'll see what happens.
You're 3-4 in conference. If you go 500, you're in. 500 in the SEC will get you into the NCAA tournament. The story's a little different on the Oklahoma side of things. A lot has happened since January 8th. Oklahoma is 11-10 on the year, 1-7 in conference, 7 straight losses, including losses to Alabama, South Carolina, Missouri, and Arkansas. The Missouri one was an absolute kick in the basketballs with not 1, but 2 buzzer-beating threes to send one to send it in overtime and the other to win it in a walk-off. And then Arkansas, where you're up with 30 seconds to go and you get a piss-poor shot up, followed by a foul and 1 to go down 2, followed by a really crappy drawn-up play that had 0 ball movement, followed by a rebound and a foul, and they win by 4. Porter Mosier is on life support, and I think he's probably DNR. It's been rough, Kevin. It has been rough being an Oklahoma fan. And, the talk about Oklahoma is their NIL and their facilities and all the things he has against him. I've said this now for 5 years under Porter Mosier. When you have a lead in the last minute of the game and you lose, i.e. Missouri, Arkansas, that's not NIL's fault. That's not the facility's fault. That's not the transfer portal's fault. You played a team evenly. That means over 39.5 minutes, you are even with them. So decisions and actions and plays and timeouts and when to foul and when not to foul and all of the intricate things that a coach has to do, they get paid in the last 2 minutes of games. You and I could coach a basketball team for 38 minutes, Kevin. We would get run
closing time.
You get run in circles in the last 2 minutes of a game. That is where coaches make or break themselves. And unfortunately, he is 3-19 in games decided in the last 2 minutes of games in his career.
Wow.
And I'm sorry. I listen, dude. I've met the man. He's great. And in terms of recruiting, I think he's done okay. Like, our talent level is pretty good year over year. I like all the individual pieces he's got on this team. I think Pack's a really good player. McGee's been developed. Tate Davis has been playing really, really well. I like our guys. But when you keep getting beat in the last 2 minutes of games, I stop. Yes, NIL is an issue. Yes, we need to spend more money. I guess facilities are an issue. I am not a build a new stadium guy. That's not me. But everybody else is, so I'll give it to them. Great, build a new stadium, whatever. It ain't going to change what you do in the last 2 minutes of a basketball game, Kevin. It will not. Look at Sean Miller. Okay? You said this 20 days ago. He hates this basketball team.
Yeah.
You said it. Well, guess what? When he's playing Bama, Vandy, and Georgia, the difference is Sean Miller. I mean, it just is. There's just no way around it. And you play Arkansas and you get beat at home, it might have something to do with John Calipari being on the other sideline. Because Arkansas is not a demonstrably better team than Oklahoma is. They just aren't.
Yeah, correct. We're not looking at, 2012 Kentucky.
No, and this ain't 1992 Arkansas with Scotty, what was the kid's name?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. And,
all those guys. All those guys.
Corliss Williamson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can't think of it. It was Scotty something, whatever.
I know exactly who you're talking about. I just can't
that was 40 minutes of hell, and I absolutely loved that version of basketball.
It was great.
I love basketball. That's what I liked about. We've talked about it with your boy that came from VCU. Who's at Marquette now?
Yeah, the Havoc. Never brought it to Austin.
He never brought it to Austin, and it's like, why not run that with better athletes? You'd run them out of the gym. I love that type of basketball. You get some big wins and some big losses sometimes if things go the wrong way, but I just like the energy it brings. That's neither here nor there.
Scotty Thurman, by the way.
Thank you, Scotty Thurman. And all that to be said, Oklahoma's got to do something different. Now, do they need to address NIL? Yeah, just like they're going to have to do that every year from now until forever. But it's funny, you look at the women's basketball. I don't know, you beat South Carolina. Does that have anything to do with NIL when you're playing South Carolina?
Well, that NIL involves getting Aaliyah Chavez, yes.
Kevin, I don't disagree. But guess what? You know what Jenny Baranczyk did? Jenny Baranczyk drew a line in the sand, said, we're getting this girl or I'm walking.
Is that what happened?
She put her money where her mouth is. She probably said, fire me if I don't make it to the Final Four next year. You know what I mean? Like, this is what we're dealing with versus a basketball team where it just seems to be one constant excuse after another as to why they can't win games. Well, I'll tell you why you can't win games. You get out-turnovered by Arkansas. You don't make free throws, and you make stupid decisions in the last 2 minutes. You're going to lose basketball games. 5
or year 6? What year is this for Moser?
It's at least 5. I think it's 5. Might be 6. I don't know. But come on, we've seen enough, right?
It seems like at this point, last year was his first time making the tournament.
Kevin, making the tournament is as simple as making a bowl game.
Well, clearly not. It took him 4 to 5 years to do it.
No, Kevin, it's 68 teams, and you're in a good conference. You're in either the Big 12 or the SEC. You just got to finish middle of the pack of your conference, and you are in. Yeah. You really, when the Big 12 was rolling, you had to finish in like the top 11, top 12 of the Big 12 to get into the NCAA tournament. And now that you're in the SEC, top 10 teams, top 12 teams make the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's frustrating. I'm a lot like a lot of Oklahoma fans. I'm frustrated that Oklahoma.
This is year 5, by the way.
Yeah, it's year 5. It's not good. I don't want anybody to get fired, but maybe he could find another job. They're gonna fire him, right?
Yeah, weren't there rumors with him? What job was that? It was more of a Midwestern job that he was his name was being brought up for.
Was it Marquette? The one that shot? Was it the one
that
shot?
It was last year. Shaka's been at Marquette a few years now.
Okay.
It was at least year 3 for him, but I can't remember. It was one of the Midwestern schools. It seemed like it'd be potentially a better fit.
You don't watch The Office, do you?
No.
Yeah, there's a scene where Michael, this is early on in the deal. It's a Halloween episode, actually. Michael has to fire somebody. And Dwight gets an offer at another company, but he turns it down. And then he goes and tells Michael, hey, I had this offer, but I turned it down. Michael's like, why? I would have had to fire anybody, That's kind of how they must have felt when Porter came in. Hey, I turned that job down.
Yeah, really?
Oh.
He's like, I'm loyal to the brand.
let me tell you, on the other side of things, Texas basketball, 19-2, 4-2 in the SEC, rolling. Any thoughts on Texas women's basketball?
Yeah, they're doing a great job, man. 2 losses in conference so far, back-to-back road games at LSU and at South Carolina, both really close games. So yeah, so far so good. The schedule to finish the year is going to be tough, right? It's the SEC. Red River women's basketball, February
Saturday.
1st, Sunday.
Sunday. Is it
I
Sunday?
have it Sunday, yeah,
It might be
February
Sunday.
1st.
It might be Sunday.
Yeah, Moody Center, Austin, 2:00. Tune in. Should be fun. No NFL either.
Jenny Baranchek gets after it. All right. I love what that coach brings to the table. She went toe-to-toe with Dawn Staley, which is I think she was embarrassed about the LSU performance. You would go toe-to-toe with Dawn Staley, and you know what I mean? You're pretty legit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, correct.
Aaliyah Chavez is as advertised. Speaking of the South Carolina game, we were all at our golf club for a high school golf dinner, preseason dinner or whatever, and they had the game on, and all of us, all the parents, the girls, just got caught up in that game, and we get to overtime, and she starts taking the top off, and it was, I mean, that's listen, dude. 13 points in the overtime period against the number one team, or number 2 team in the country, whatever they are right now. Stop. Yeah. Freshman, true freshman.
Yeah, I mean, and it's no surprise, right? I mean, that's why the recruiting battle was so big time between, Texas and Oklahoma for her. She's a rare prospect.
I heard that, tell me if you believe this. I heard, and from a very reliable source, that women's basketball at OU has a bigger NIL budget than men's basketball.
It wouldn't be surprising. You got the top player in the country. You're not getting the top player in men's basketball.
Texas probably doesn't operate at that, though, do they?
No.
Texas probably has.
I mean, I'm sure they have a decent NIL, but, never a generational type prospect like Aaliyah Chavez.
Here's the deal. If Aaliyah Chavez can shoot like that in the tournament, Oklahoma can go really, really deep. Because they've got Reagan Beers is a hell of a center. Verholst brings you that experience. Obviously, Sahara Williams, Zaya Van, the whole deal. They're really, really good. But they got to shoot the ball. They just got to start with Aaliyah Chavez. They can do it.
Just in the conference alone, right? I mean, you've got, Kentucky, who's in the top 10, LSU, South Carolina, Texas. Oklahoma. So, yeah, the women's tournament.
But that's the beauty of the SEC, though, which did not play out in football. Ironically, what I'm about to say, I hope it plays out in women's basketball, men's basketball too. Is you get tested. So when you get to the tournament, it's like, okay, we've had to go up against LSU, South Carolina, Texas, Vandy, Kentucky, on and on and on. Like we could go up against.
Feel more comfortable playing up against UCLA.
UConn. Listen, UConn is intimidating because they're UConn, but they're not any more or less intimidating than South Carolina with Dawn Staley over there on the sideline.
Exactly. Right.
Which I'm not a big fan of Dawn Staley. I respect what she's done for that program. Not a big fan. That's either here or there. NFL, Kevin. NFL.
I'm a fan.
I'm sure you are. You probably fanboy all over her. All right, Super Bowl, Pats versus Seahawks. We'll talk about this, I'm sure, a little bit next week when we preview the Super Bowl in depth. Just a quick question: Which quarterback is a better story in this game?
Oh, Sam Darnold.
Is it
Sam Darnold? Yes. I think most of us had completely written him off. I never saw him being able, at this point in his career, being able to lead a team to the Super Bowl. And look, I know they've got a great defense, but in this game, in the NFC Championship game, their defense was not great. The Rams are going up and down the field. right? It was him. Like, he won them this game. And I can't believe what I saw.
Who are you going for?
I don't know. I really don't have a rooting interest. The Patriots.
I'm
I'm like,
rooting
man, y'all
against
are
this.
back already.
I'm rooting against the Seahawks. I don't know. I
Why?
can't. Pete Carroll ruined the Seahawks for me. They ruined the
So
Seahawks.
even though he's gone, even though
it
he
doesn't matter.
just got fired from the Raiders,
it's a taint. It's a taint of Pete Carroll all over the Seahawks. I never liked him. He was there too long. Russell Wilson was annoying. I don't like any of it. I don't like any of it. I do think Sam Darnold's story is pretty cool. I will give you that. But I'm 100. And the Patriots have Ramondre Stevenson. Texas players in the Super Bowl off the top of your head?
Yeah, Brendan Schooler is the top special teams guy for the Patriots, and Seattle, Byron Murphy, who was awesome for them on the defensive line, and their punter Michael Dixon, who was the reason why that guy muffed that punt.
Yeah.
Remember him winning MVP of the bowl game, the Texas Bowl, when he was here? The way he kicks the ball, man, he puts this crazy, weird spin on it, and their punt returner couldn't figure it out. Remember, he dropped the first one, and the second one, the ball just kept kind of rotating and drifting, caused him to, lose his balance, and that really was a big turning point in that football game there. So, but yeah, that's who we got on those teams.
I was pulling for Denver so bad. Just get to see Benito and Marvin Mims. Those guys have done so well.
Yeah, we got a lot of guys on the Broncos too. Tough break for them, man. Losing Bo Nix after the game. So real quick, went to Las Vegas for the first time.
There you go. Let's go. We're ready. We're ready, Kevin.
Circa Sportsbook is awesome. By the way, I'll show you. I'm gonna send you some pictures. Have you ever been there?
The Circa Sportsbook?
Circa, yeah, CIRCA.
No.
This place is awesome, man. So we watched the Denver game in there, and it's over, and then I get a text from Jeffrey, he's the one who told me that Bo Nix had injured his ankle.
Oh, you didn't know it while you were watching?
I didn't know. No, because they had already switched over all the sound that was playing, projecting was on the Rams game, or whoever was playing after that.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize until he texted me, and it's wild because in this sportsbook there are a lot of fans there, a lot of Broncos fans were in there. So we're all finding out about this. Oh man, they were heartbroken. It was so weird because there were a ton of Bills fans too. So 30 minutes after the game, it looked like everybody had lost.
Look, Stidham was a backup quarterback at best.
He's a backup quarterback. Listen, if he's been a backup quarterback for this long in a league that is desperate for starting quarterbacks, it's for a reason.
Yeah, 100%. And the one pass was really bad, or fumble, or whatever that was. Like that looked like a kid. That looked like what I used to do when I was getting chased by my friends and I didn't want to get tackled, and I would just throw it away. Like, don't tackle me. I don't want. It just, I don't know. It didn't look very good. And yet they still had a chance. The weather kept them in it, I think.
Yeah, the weather was horrible. Oh, it was so bad.
Wasn't that amazing? Wasn't that amazing how it's maybe not sunny, but clear until like 4 minutes to go in the third quarter?
Yeah, it's like a slight overcast. And it was funny because, when I lived in Colorado for a while, and they showed a shot from the blimp or a drone, whatever they have up there. And they showed the sky. And I told Casey, that doesn't look good. Like, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
You're in Colorado and you look over towards the mountains, it's like, uh-oh. It's about to start snowing, something nasty. That's how it looked there.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Man. It was horrible.
You're okay with home games, right? Some people have talked about championship games being played indoors. No, you play them in.
I'm not. Yeah, you play them at home. Hey, we've talked about this with college. We would take home games up until the championship game.
Whoever says that stuff is, I don't even know what the word is to describe them. Like, stop. Just stop it. You're not a sports fan if you didn't like what you saw.
Yeah, it's home field advantage, right? And again, both teams have to play in it. Yeah.
It's just, look, at this level, sports is as much a mental test as it is a physical test. And it's the team and the players that can thrive in the elements, not survive the elements, but thrive in the elements, right? And anyway, that's it right there.
Look, it's tough though, right? When you got to go to Green Bay. Remember the Giants that year having to go to Green Bay and the temperature is like 20 below.
Yeah, well,
win more. It is what it is.
Win more regular season games.
Yeah, try to host a game.
Don't lose to the Cowboys in the regular season or something. I don't know what to tell you. Quick update on the world of golf. This is a deep cut. We're late in the episode, but for people that know that I love to talk about golf and stuff, Brooks Koepka will be making his PGA Tour debut after 2 or 3 seasons away from the PGA Tour and on Live Golf. And Patrick Reed announced today that he is leaving Live Golf to come back to the PGA Tour. You're talking now Live Golf only being able to boast Jon Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau, Cam Smith. After that, the names are dudes you probably haven't heard of, Kevin. Like, it's just Live Golf they're still shelling out the cash, and they are claiming that DeChambeau and Rahm aren't going anywhere. At this point, I think it's very fair to say that DeChambeau and Rahm are doing it for the money and nothing else. I don't know that there's any other explanation. It's not about competition at this point. There's nobody left.
So what are your thoughts on this? Why are they leaving to go back? Just they miss playing in those tournaments that everybody knows and cares about over whatever Live has going on? Because I'll be honest with you, I've never watched Live.
I think there's a couple things. I actually think Live was a pretty good business model and created a lot of excitement for the fan experience. So it sounds like these guys actually had fun playing in Live Golf events. Okay. I don't want to say that it was a total crap show. I think they actually enjoyed playing in Live Golf events. And I think they enjoyed the team aspect of Live Golf events. And I know they enjoyed the money because the money was real. However, changes have been made to Live. Most notably, they are now 72-hole tournaments. So Live was the Roman numeral 54, which meant a 54-hole no-cut tournament. Okay? So guys like Brooks Koepka, who are maybe not the hardest workers in golf, okay? He did the math and said, wait a minute. I get to play one less round of golf for every tournament I play in. That's one less day of travel, one less day of everything, and I don't have to worry about making a cut, and I've got guaranteed money. I'm going to do this. And the schedule is lighter.
No-brainer.
Pretty much no-brainer, right? In a way. Well, you add another round back. Well, it's like, okay, so now I got to go back to playing 72-hole tournaments? Like, why do I want to play 70-hole that people aren't watching versus a 50?
Yeah.
So the money kind of doesn't work out that way. And then they added more tournaments and they mandated that you have to play in them all. Well, now you're traveling all over the world to play in these tournaments, which for a European-based player like Rahm is probably, not a big ask since you're traveling all over the United States. But for an American-based player like Patrick Reed or Brooks Koepka, it's like, well, you've added more events. They're now 72-hole events. And now you're saying I have to be at all of them. Well, I'll take the PGA Tour where they're all in the United States. They're all a 2.5-hour flight from where I live in Florida. And what are we talking about? And more people care about it and watch it. I can have a bigger influence on the game. I think it's really a matter of convenience for guys like Brooks and P. Reed. Yeah. And I think for who's left, I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to continue to follow.
Let me ask you this, though. Sometimes I always think that competition brings out the best, right? When we have companies that compete against each other, they force each other to elevate. Did Liv force PGA to make some sort of additions or do anything?
Absolutely. So the PGA created revenue sharing for their players. And so based on wins and whatever, they were able to secure significant financial incentives based on revenue sharing. In addition, they created what's called signature events, which are still 72-hole events, but they now no longer have a cut. So that's always a big deal. So in a PGA event, the first 36 holes, you have to make the cut to play the next 36 holes. And if you don't make the cut, you don't get paid. So it could literally be 2 working days of your life plus a pro-am, 2 working days of your life and not getting paid at all. Well, now for the top tier players who have earned it, they can have 6 or 8 signature events where they don't have to worry about making the cut anymore, similar to Live. So it forced the PGA to make concessions, which I think has made that tournament stronger, more desirable. And they listen. I think the biggest thing at the end of the day, though, I think it's very simple, is they had the support of Tiger Woods. I think they had the support of Tiger Woods. Yeah, and I think it just guaranteed the legitimacy of the PGA Tour and the supremacy of the PGA Tour. And in addition, Texas grad Scottie Scheffler has been on a torrid pace, and that leads further legitimacy to the tour, to have the number 1 player in the world on that tour, winning on that tour. He just won this past weekend, passed $100 million in career earnings, fastest player to 20 wins in 4 majors since Tiger Woods. The only other one I think is Jack Nicklaus. You're in a league with Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods. So I think Tiger, Scotty, more money, U.S. based. I think Live with. Do I think they'll hang around? I think they've got enough money to hang around. I just don't know who the heck's going to watch it.
That's the problem. If no one's watching, what's the point? You can't, you know.
Yeah. Last note I want to hit on, and then we'll get out of here, Kevin. Thunder 38-10, 6 games up on San Antonio, 7-3 in their last 10 games. Give us an update on the Thunder. Give us an update on the Spurs.
Yeah, it's crazy because, the beginning of the year, we were talking about the Thunder potentially breaking the single season wins record. Obviously, that's not going to happen now. They've had a lot of injuries, though, right? Hardenstein's been out for a long time. Jalen Williams, J-Dub, missed the first 20-something games. Now he's out again with a hamstring injury. Alex Caruso has missed a lot of time. So they've had a lot of injuries. Their depth has definitely been tested, but they're pushing through. So like you said, still a clear, comfortable lead in the Western Conference, and I fully expect them to finish with the number 1 seed and make a deep playoff run. Will they win the title? They'll be the overwhelming favorite, right? But we'll have to see what happens with Denver. Jokic has been out. They've still actually been pretty good without him. So they'll definitely be a factor. And yeah, we'll see what the Spurs will do. Their youth and inexperience still shows quite a bit, despite them being second in the West. I don't know how, serious of a championship contender that they are this season. But I'm excited for them to be able to make the playoffs and just to be able to get that playoff experience. And then I'm hoping next year is the year that they can really make a run. The NBA has been fun this year.
Look, if the Thunder the Thunder will be in the playoffs. They'll be the 1 seed. They'll have home court advantage. If they shoot the ball, they win the world title.
Right.
And what you've seen in the NBA over the last number of years is it's always which team has the best supporting cast, right? It's guys that come out of nowhere to just become absolute. It's like when Dallas didn't Dallas go to the finals a couple of years ago with Luka?
It is, yeah.
And their dudes they had dudes. I can't even name the guys that were making 3 all over the place. They're making 3s, and they were unconscious against the Thunder in that series, and then in additional series. If the Thunder shoot shots, if they make shots, make 3s, have a good percentage, they'll win it. It's basketball is an easy game. Ask Porter Bowman. Yeah. Easy game.
Real quick,
any other stories?
Scottie Scheffler. You talking about Scottie Scheffler real quick?
Yeah.
He's got the most PGA Tour wins by any Texas golfer now. He passed up Ben Crenshaw and Tom Kite, both Texas alums now.
Ben Crenshaw and Tom Kite grew up in the same club, Austin Country Club in Austin, Texas. They were coached by the famous Harvey Penick, who wrote a number of actually didn't write a number of books. He had his notes compiled to create a number of golf books in the 90s that became like Bibles to a lot of us golfers, especially golfers that grew up in Texas like me. In 1995, Ben Crenshaw had won the Masters like in 84, I think, or 85, and hadn't been playing his best golf. If anything, his career was probably on the decline by 95. The week before the Masters, Harvey Pinnock dies. His coach dies. He's inconsolable, right? I mean, this guy's his second father to him. So he's got to go to Augusta with the death of his coach on his mind. Plays out of his mind. Carl Jackson's his longtime caddy. He wins the tournament. Claims there was a 15th club in his bag, Harvey. Claims he saw him on the fairway of a couple of holes in the last round. Said he literally saw him on the fairways. Collapses into Carl Jackson's arms. One of the greatest sports stories of all time is Ben Crenshaw winning the 95 Masters after Harvey Pinnock died. And that's what the Masters does that. The Masters gives the sporting world those type of stories, whether it's Tiger in 97, whether it's Tiger in 2019, whether it's Scotty or Rory or whatever, the Jack in 86, you get these, they can't be real type events. And 95 was no different. It was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. What do you got? Any stories from Vegas before we close, Kevin?
You know what, man? I had a great time. Shout out to my brother-in-law, Eric. His 40th birthday. So, I had some good food. Got to check out some casinos, the sports books. We stayed at the MGM Grand. Hung out at the sports book there.
Did you make money on the trip?
Absolutely not. You don't make money in Las Vegas. Come on, man.
I haven't been to Vegas in like 10 years, probably. We used to go a lot. Alice used to live out there when we were dating. And then her best friend still lives in Vegas. We'd go see her quite a bit. It's been a while, though. I'll tell you, and then I'll let you go. One quick story about Vegas was we were actually in Vegas when COVID shut down everything.
Wow.
Spring break 2020, we were in Vegas. We were on a road trip. Luckily, we weren't like flying. We were in a road trip. And it's like Tuesday of that week, we're like, well, we're going to take the kids still and go watch a movie. We went and watched the movie. The only people in the movie theater. And when we come out of the theater, they're literally closing out. The theater was inside a casino. They're literally closing down the casino, telling people to leave. Like, it was nuts. So we decided to leave and start our way back home because we're like, this vacation's going nowhere and we probably just better get home. But we end up, you were just on the Strip, right?
Yeah.
Crazy place. Unbelievably nuts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Alice is like, let's take the kids and show them the Strip before we leave. Because at this point, we hadn't been downtown yet. So I'm like, okay, whatever. We drive down. Kevin, it was like it was a movie set. There was nobody on the Strip. There was no cars. It was so eerie.
And you should have recorded it.
Oh, I didn't even think about it. But it was like Hollywood had built the Strip to serve as a
that was closed.
And we were like trying to explain to the girls what it usually looks like. You know, that there's usually
like
lights,
traffic,
cars
lights everywhere,
people,
traffic almost gridlocked.
Water shows, and just everything that can exist on this. How much does the Sphere dominate the landscape?
Yeah, it really doesn't.
Really, don't even hardly. You only notice if you're looking at it.
Yeah, and you see it more from above. The best shot I had from the Sphere was actually landing on the plane. Oh,
really?
Yeah. I mean,
that's a cool flight in, isn't it? It's a cool flight in, though, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. So yeah, I'll send you some pictures and stuff that I took of it though, from where I could see it.
Kevin, enjoy your weekend. Hopefully, here in Oklahoma City, we thaw out a little bit more, though it's supposed to be cold. Hopefully, we thaw out a little bit more. Hopefully, my kids have school tomorrow. Have a great rest of your week. We'll talk next week. We'll preview the Super Bowl, make some picks, talk some more college football. Have a great weekend. Boomer!
Welcome.